This is the First Amendment. We're standing here in Philadelphia where the First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, everything was signed. We're at ground zero where the American Revolution started, and now we're right here where the American Reefer Revolution has started.
I'm Steve from Wearechangect, Connecticut, and I'm down here with NJ Weedman. We're just down here at Smokedown Prohibition VI. Weedman, what's your assessment of actually what went down here today?
It was a successful demonstration of civil disobedience, and my assessment is potheads are getting more and more aggressive. You know, we've always been a peaceful crowd. You know, I've constantly called myself a peaceful pothead, and part of the reason why the war on us has gone on so long is because we're so passive. Well, this act of civil disobedience is showing that that more and more people are ready to not only come out of the cannabis closet, but to stand up for cannabis rights.
So a couple people got manhandled by the cops, and they just basically gave them all tickets for interference. And it seems to me the cops were the ones who were interfering, and it really doesn't justify. So do you think they'd be able to go in court and fight this and knock it down, or at least get it nollied?
Well, 10 years ago, I used to come here once a month for, back in 2002 and 2003. I think I came here like 8 times. I got tickets. Most of them I beat. Like, for instance, I got charged with destruction of evidence for eating a joint, and I argued to the judge at the time that I didn't destroy anything. I came to ingest it. I was smoking it. They interfered with me, and then I ate it, but I still ingested it. I didn't destroy anything. And same thing here. And the judge felt that I was right. Same thing here. These disorderly persons charges, no one was being disorderly until the police interfered. The police are the ones that interfered. You know, who did these people interfere with? Like, we were here in the free speech zone, and the police came and disrupted us.
Yeah, I find it rather ironic how they got the First Amendment here, and then the cops come in and mess with the peaceful protesters. So, oh, hold on.
See, this was a successful smoke down. Even the reporter here is, I'm going to say, secondhand smoke. I didn't witness him smoking anything, but it's obvious that we all were smoking, or plenty of us were smoking.
I find it rather Orwellian, how basically, like you said, that the cops came in, they were the ones who were interfering. And did you ever think we're going to win this? Because it's weed. It's a plant. What's the problem? The most dangerous thing about marijuana is the police.
Exactly. But we are slowly winning the war on drugs. I mean, 20 years ago, after the Reagan destruction, to talk about weed, people were like, what are you on? Your brain on drugs? You know what I mean? Now, I used to feel like a zero back in the 90s when I talked about legalizing marijuana. Now I'm a hero. Attitudes have changed. More than 50% of the American population believe marijuana should be legal just for use, and like 70 or 80% believe it should be legal for medical use. There are 18 states and the District of Columbia now that have legalized marijuana for medicinal use. The war on drugs is being won by our side. There's a whole bunch of, I call them Elliot Nesses. Elliot Ness was the government G-man during prohibition of alcohol, and for all his heroics and all this fame that he got as this great G-man, when it was all said and done, he was a loser. And that's what's going on now. We got a whole bunch of Elliot Nesses running around here. History is going to show them in the same light that Elliot Ness is. They're losers, because we are going to win the war on marijuana, just like during the 20s and 30s. Ultimately, the alcohol crowd won the war on alcohol, won the prohibition on alcohol.
Well, one last thing. Homeland Security was here. I thought when that was introduced, it was for terrorism.
Yeah, that is what it was for. But see, that's how incrementalism is. You know, there's been plenty of good legislation that was started with a good thing, and then ultimately is used for bad things. If in 2001, when they first proposed this whole new Homeland Security, it was all about 9/11 and Homeland and protecting the motherland from terrorists and foreign invaders. You know, we're supposed to be coordinating all our agencies to resist this terrorism. And now look, they're here surrounding a bunch of domestic potheads, you know, and most marijuana in America now is grown in America, so we're not even getting it from overseas. And if we do get it from somewhere, we get it from Mexico, where we and our policies have caused a civil war. You know, our policies, the American policies, cause wars other places. There was just a 30-year war, cocaine war going on in Colombia. You know, we got this, the last 10 years they've been fighting in Mexico. And you know what it's for? It's for the drug routes, the transportation routes to bring marijuana into America and feed the American appetite, you know, of marijuana. Hey, we're the biggest potheads in the world. You know, people like might have that image of Jamaicans or have that image of the Dutch. Nowhere in the world consumes as much marijuana as America. You know, it is. And you know what? Marijuana is becoming the new apple. You know, the new apple pie. You know, who doesn't eat brownies nowadays? I don't remember the last time I had apple pie. You know what I mean? I don't eat apple pies. I eat brownies. You know, I don't eat apples. You know, I got fat buds.
You wanna promote anything you're doing right now?
Yeah, well, check out NJWeedman.com. I'm coming out with a new book that basically covers my trial. The date of the book, the publication should be September the 5th, which happens to be Jury Rights Day. I need people to understand what jury nullification is, really get a good grasp on it. At this point in history, I say no pothead. If you're arrested just for marijuana, you should not be convicted at all in front of a jury, because we know that more than 50% of Americans believe that marijuana should be legal. On a jury of 12, that's 5 or 6, you know. And if that's what you argue, that the law is wrong, don't deny anything. The law's wrong, not me. Yes, I use marijuana. Yes, I'm going to use it at lunchtime. Yes, tomorrow morning, I'm a Wake and Baker. Yes, I'm going to smoke it. The law is wrong, and every one of you 12 people on the jury, you know the law is wrong. Matter of fact, how many of you smoke marijuana? Your brother, your sister, your cousin, everybody in here somewhere or the other knows that marijuana is wrong, and all you have to do is say not guilty. And that's what I've been telling everyone. At this point in history, no one should be convicted of a marijuana only. It should be an aberration if someone's convicted instead of the normal now. You know, most people plead guilty too. I say don't plead guilty. Don't take plea bargains. Plea bargains aren't pleas, and there's nothing good about it. And at the end of the day, it's basically bribery. The state bribes you out of your right to a fair trial by offering you leniency. They offer you something. Imagine if I offered you something to testify. You know, you'd be like, dude, you just paid off a witness. And that's what they do to the poor defendant. They get him in front of the judge, they pressure him, and they make him testify against himself by bribing him with some offer of leniency. That is the classic 101 definition of bribery, to be offered something in exchange for. And that's what happens. The government has their boot on your neck, and then they offer you the fig leaf of some plea bargain, forces you to testify against yourself in violation of your right to, you know, self-incrimination. And, you know, it's the whole war on drugs, man, causes all this. Makes so many aspects of our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, it violates it. You know, the war on drugs does that. It undermines the basic freedoms and fundamental rights that we supposedly gained right here at that building. Isn't that a sight? Right on the other side of that gaggle of police officers is the place where they signed the Bill of Rights. The Declaration of Independence were both signed right in that building. We are on Independence Mall, the birthplace of America. This is where the American Revolution started, and I believe that this is ultimately where the reefer revolution is going to start. In fact, it's already started. Once a month, right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Peace.
My name is Patrick Heinz. I'm a retired corrections officer. I spent the last 15 years of my career as a licensed substance abuse counselor at the Hampden County Sheriff's Department up in Western Massachusetts, and I am here speaking for LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, which is an organization of former and current law enforcement personnel and supporters. It's an international organization, over 200,000 people. And we're advocating for a change in the drug policy, which is a failure on its own terms.
Because there needs to be more outrage in the nation. Because right now, as long as people don't see the blood, as people don't hear the explosions, it happens around the world. It's not even covered on the news unless there's some type of a claim that so many innocent people have been killed, and then it's really quickly swept under the rug.